Welcome back to ManaTutor MTG Draft, and today we'll be going over our first impressions of the set. The goal of the episode is to provide you condensed advice to win now. I hope that within the next 10 minutes we can provide you all you need to up your win rate and get back to playing games. And I do want to mention the metagame changes over time, so what works today might not work in the coming weeks. But before we get started, I want to ask you to please like and subscribe to this channel. We need your help to grow the community, and we really appreciate your help in growing this channel. I want to start off mentioning some credentials because we are a brand new channel and you may wonder why should you listen to us. In my games on day 1, I have a 50% trophy rate and I am top 20 within 17 lands win rate. That won't last for long, especially since I like to experiment and try out some strategies that will not increase my win rate, but is an investment into future increases of win rate. But I hope this gives you some confidence that what I'm going to mention in this episode will help you win. The first note is about set power. The commons are underpowered, the rares are even underpowered. Uncommons will rule this set. You should pick them highly and don't be afraid to abandon it after your first pick if your lane isn't open. You want to secure powerful cards, but if your lane isn't open and you're not supported with the reasonable commons, you should not stick to your lane. I love formats that are like this because the rares aren't so pushed that only those who open up a big rare win, and the synergies aren't so pushed that those that stick to a lane always win. This means that reading signals becomes a more important part of the draft, and that happens to lead to a more fun experience for a lot of players. A note on the Ring Bearer. We were right in our set review. Ring Bearers are more important than the March of the Machine battles, but they are still not what dictates the set. 50% of the games I played, Ring Bearer didn't even matter, and Ring Bearer cards are underpowered, matching what we said about this set. Levels 1 mattered more than I thought, getting a legendary creature, due to all the cards that mentioned legendaries, and level 2 mattered the most, which is what we expected. Levels 3 and 4 did not really come up, and when they did happen, they didn't matter that much. On the other side of the set not being powerful, I think you do win with more powerful cards, not with synergy. This means you should be splashing more often to play your more powerful cards. And this leads to picking the powerful legendaries first, then to fixing in land cyclers to help you splash. Here's an example trophy deck that I had, where I first picked the Balrog. I think I second picked either Tail of Tenuvial or Aomer, and I was able to pick up a couple Shadowfaxes and Landroval. Those were my early picks that I filled in more copies of with my later picks. But after I got the Balrog, I pulled up in my pick order Troll of Khazak Doom, and as I got Tail of Tenuvial and Shadowfax, I picked up Eagles of the North. And these help greatly, effectively giving me kind of like 20 lands. I do want to mention you should not take the land cyclers and replace lands 1-1. It more ensures you're not going to get mana screwed, and it helps to hit your land drops every turn so that you can play the land cyclers as cards when possible. In this kind of deck, I would typically play about 18 lands, but I felt comfortable with 4 land cyclers trimming down 2. I think it'll be common to trim down 1 land, but hopefully this trophy deck gives you a bit of an idea of the approach that I had in drafting. Up next, a note about the colors. I think black, red, and blue, roughly in that order, are the strongest. White is slightly behind, and I think green is way behind. So far with this metagame, I'm going to soft avoid green. And this is because green's synergy ability comes at the cost of raw card power. Green synergizes with white for food, blue for scry, black for graveyard, and red for kind of 4 power plus matters. Graveyard and 4 power plus matters is not a very strong synergy. And food just seems underpowered, and scry dies quite a bit to removal. There are a few key payoffs that when your opponent removes them, you just lose. I do think green's real power might be in really enabling the splashes for the powerful cards, so I expect to see many Partings and Woe's Pathfinder going up in pick order, but for now, I'm soft avoiding green. In regards to format speed, I think the speed is medium and well balanced. You must affect the board early to stay alive, but you also must have an impactful late game to win, and you can do that with the land cyclers or with some of these sagas. The sagas overall are better than I expected in our set review, and I think that's because the format's a bit slower than I expected, but I'd by no means say the format is completely slow, and that aggro decks have no chance, they do. On impacting the board early, you want your 2 to 3 converted mana cost drops and removal. I'll mention X1s are way more prevalent than I predicted, and because of this, I think Fear Fire Foes is expected to be one of the top 3 uncommons in the set. Don't overlook this card, it's great. In terms of having an impactful late game, you need to stay alive and turn the corner. Tila Tenuvial I expect to be in the top 5 uncommons in the set. The way this turns the corner by making a creature indestructible as a great blocker for you, then pulling in one of your land cyclers onto the board, and then giving 2 of your creatures lifelink is a huge swing. In regard to the archetypes I haven't already mentioned, Black-Red Go Big Amass Aggro is good. I don't really think that this is a sacrifice deck. There may be some build that has sacrifice, but I think that's harder to come together than just amassing a big creature and going aggro with it. A lot of your amass cards effectively give haste by pumping something up that turn and attacking right then. I put Aylmer of the Rittermark on here, not because he's just good in black-red, but as a point that this is one of the top uncommons that I've been seeing as well. The 5/4 haste is just good. He's almost always going to be the biggest thing on the battlefield, and his ability of creating the 1/1 human soldier creature, especially for defense, the effect reminds me a lot of the Phyrexia Albi 1/3/3 haster that came with a 1/1. Don't sleep on this card, it's good. Up next, we have an archetype of one of the synergies I do really like. I'm just calling this blue-red Gandalf spells because Gandalf plays such a big role. Gandalf Sanction, while not Zenith Flare from Ikoria, is quite powerful in this deck. We underrated this in our set review. Same with Gandalf. Pairing him with Birthday Escape and getting the ring temps and drawing a bunch of cards, and being able to play sorceries at instant speed is huge. I also want to mention, while not the most powerful card, Treason of Isengard does do a good job at cycling Gandalf Sanction back to the top of your deck, so picking up a copy or two when you otherwise do not have strong picks is good. Blue-white, I don't have much to say past Gandalf, but I'll mention Gwaihir is okay. Flyers are more important in this set than in other sets. The 6 mana cost is tough, but even when you pay that, it's fine, and when you can pay 4, it's great. I've been impressed with white-black. I'm not sure yet if that's a sample size that I played against white-black. I haven't played it myself yet. Once white-black gets you down to under 10 life, Denethor, with the amount of 1/1s around, which I mentioned was more prevalent than I thought it would be, can finish off an opponent pretty quickly. I want to mention that while I trophied with a white-red deck, I think I trophied with that because of my splashes. White-red itself seems to run out of power and let your opponent turn the corner. I'm not saying that will always be the case, but I would approach this archetype with that caution. Lastly, on blue-black, I think the jury is still out. I haven't seen too much of this. I do think that the decking strategy is real, but still not one that has a high win rate compared to the other archetypes. I hope this overview provided the context needed to help steer your next draft. On top of our longer, perhaps bi-weekly discussions with Matt and I, we may intermittently splash in these brief strategy sessions. So let us know down below in the comments how you like this, and also how you think we can improve. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.